Brady Singer is just a small part of what the Reds' biggest issue currently is.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Jeff Carr, and today's Locked On Reds is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, your first $5 wager can get you $150 in bonus bets. Head on over to FanDuel.com to get started. Play your game. Later on in today's show, we will preview the opportunity that the Reds have to show Kyle Schwarber what could have been. In just a few minutes, we'll break down a few bright spots in an otherwise dark weekend for the Reds up in Cleveland. But we'll begin with that which ails the Reds the most. And no, it ain't the hantavirus. It's the mound. Pitching. It ain't working. And if it weren't for a very large lead that the Reds were able to build early on in the game on Friday night, it might not have helped them out at all. The Reds were able to get 1 out of 3, but after getting smacked around on Sunday, and after the bullpen seemingly walking away any chance they had to win on Saturday, everyone is scratching their heads. What is the solution? Well, unfortunately, there's a couple of things that I just don't know that you can change right now, and I think probably the biggest thing that the Reds need is just for some guys who are pitching poorly to stop. And that starts with Brady Singer, because Brady Singer started on Sunday and yet again had a bad performance. Absolutely got hit all over the ballpark, gave up 3 home runs. Now, if you were a pitcher in a Reds uniform on Sunday, you gave up at least 1. But Brady Singer gave up 3. And he's just not fooling anybody right now. This is a guy that was Mr. Reliable last year. He was healthy all year long. Every 5th day, you knew what you were going to get. It wasn't going to be Cy Young level pitching, but it certainly wasn't going to be this bad. As of right now, he has a greater than 90% contact rate for pitches that he throws in the strike zone. So you know how you probably have said at some point watching a Reds game, just throw strikes. Well, when Brady Singer does that, it gets hit. And to his credit, he's doing a good job at limiting the walks this year. But man, when he throws strikes, it gets destroyed. Right now, his barrel rate is almost 12%. Barrel rate against him. We'll talk about in a little bit why there's some Reds whose barrel rates are amazing, and we love to see that. But right now, his barrel rate is almost as bad as Elly De La Cruz's barrel rate is good. League average is just under 8%. It's like 7.8% right now. And Brady Singer's is at 12%. And his strikeout rate is the lowest of his career by far. The lowest he ever saw in Kansas City was an 18% strikeout rate. Right now it's at 14%. He's never been a swing and miss guy. He's not a guy that really motors on past that league average strikeout mark, but it's really bad right now. League average is 22%. He's at 14%. He's just not fooling anybody. And here's the thing. Because the first thing that you want to say whenever a guy is pitching as bad as Brady Singer is, well, he's got to be hurt, right? It's got to be an injury. At least according to StatCast, his velocity on 4 of his 5 pitches that he threw on Sunday was up. So it ain't health. He's looking pretty good health-wise, especially after getting hit on the foot with a line drive in his last start. That didn't seem to be a problem for him. But yet again, he fails to really even go long enough to help out the bullpen. Only throws 4 innings. And he threw 86 pitches in 4 innings. The starts that he's putting together are not good. But what's the alternative? And quite frankly, he is a bit of a microcosm for where the Reds are. The Reds pitching staff is just very unreliable right now. And outside of a couple of guys who thankfully are going to be pitching against the Phillies here in this next series, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, you don't love their chances on a day in and day out basis. And more so with the bullpen, the starting rotation has just been cobbled together with duct tape and and bubblegum, and Chris Paddock actually had an admirable Reds debut on Saturday, throwing 5 innings and only giving up 1 run. It was the bullpen that really failed the Reds in that game. But I just don't know how you feel every 5th day with Brady Singer when really the only course of action is you got to hope he gets better. I was texting with Steve, and Steve is, his work schedule didn't allow for him to join me on today's recording. He'll be back tomorrow. But he was like, you got to bring up Davis Daniel right now for Brady Singer's next start. Set down Brady Singer. Maybe you put him on the IL, phantom injury, give Davis Daniel a couple starts, something like that. I don't know that really helps. And I'm sure we'll discuss that a little bit more in depth tomorrow, but it just kind of feels like he's got to get better. It feels like the bullpen's got to get better, and the Reds did make a move. So Saturday, for some reason, when they had the lead, the first guy out of the bullpen was Luis Mey. And when Luis Mey first came up last year, I was cautiously excited because I knew his profile was a guy that walks a lot of guys, but man, he's got electric stuff and could strike out a lot of guys too. He just is who he is at this point, and you can't trust him in high-leverage situations. The Reds sent him down on Sunday, and they brought back up Jose Franco, who it looks like we can officially write him off as far as a potential starting pitcher for the Reds because they continue to just sequester him in the bullpen. His most recent outing, Jose Franco threw 47 pitches. That was on Thursday. And so maybe he is a guy that you could run out as a starter, but at this point you don't feel good about that. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. The point is, you just got to hope. And there was a great moment on Friday night that TJ Antone was able to get the save, and you loved the seeing that. He gave up a home run on Sunday. It feels like you flip a coin with everybody in this bullpen right now. And it's baffling because last year, after the entirety of the 2025 season, the Reds were second in all of baseball in WAR for their pitching staff. Wins above replacement, only the Phillies were better. The Phillies had 28 wins above replacement in their pitching staff, 28.1, and the Reds had 26.5. They were awesome. They had an ERA, a team ERA of 3.86. They had a team WHIP, walks plus hits per innings pitched, so essentially a base runner, or the base running statistic. They gave up 1.2 in WHIP, so 1.2 base runners per inning, walks per 9 of 3.1. This year, the Reds are 20th as a pitching staff in WAR, have a team ERA of 4.79, almost a run worse than last year, a WHIP of 1.49, so almost a base runner and a half per inning, and a walks per 9 of more than one more walk per inning from last year, 4.73. Like, it's absolutely baffling to see this because the only notable subtractions that you had from this pitching staff from last year were Nick Martinez and Brent Suter. And then you have some injuries, sure, but like, it's not like they turned over the whole staff here. You've got some guys that are just not performing. And they got to figure it out because, sure, they are still within striking distance of their goal because their goal is the division. They told us their goal is the division. Players said that. Tito said that. Nick Krall said that. Everybody said that. They're in striking distance, but for how much longer can they endure this floundering that they are doing? It's just baffling to see. The pitching has to turn it around. And it's just got to be guys breaking out of their own slumps at this point because I don't know how you can bring in somebody else at this point. You would have to make a huge trade, and I just don't see Nick Krall doing that. Coming up next, there is good news, though, because there were multiple bright spots in the lineup, including a broken slump and the Reds shortstop eclipsing the 300 mark this weekend. As the Reds season rolls along, the best way to get in on all of the action is over on FanDuel. Whether you're talking about starting pitcher lines and hoping that they look good, or you're just looking at home runs, FanDuel's got you covered every single day. And as the NBA playoffs are going on, they got a special deal right now. When you place your first $5 wager on your brand new account and it wins, you get $150 in bonus bets. And right now, there's an interesting thing as the Reds head to Philly, and they're going to be facing Kyle Schwarber. FanDuel has Kyle Schwarber at minus 115 to finish the season as the major league home run leader. He already has 20. I mean, that kind of seems like easy money right now. That's probably why he's minus. He's ahead of Aaron Judge, who's at plus 210. And then the closest guy past that is Munetaka Murakami for the White Sox at 11-1. It's literally a two-horse race, and we ain't even to June. It's all over at FanDuel. Like I mentioned, new users can place a $5 wager, and if their first $5 wager wins, you get $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, play your game. It's summer, baseball is on, and whether you're at the ballpark or just watching the game on TV, you probably got that sweet craving for a little bit of cotton candy, thinking about the guys going up and down the aisle, selling the cotton candies all around. We all know that all that sugar isn't really that great for you. That's why 5-Hour Energy has come up with the Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shot that brings the nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. They give you that tasty caffeine boost in the Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shot with zero sugar. It's a quick and easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I mean, when it comes to those guys going up and down the stands, which wish they would do that more often in a Great American Ballpark. But when you go to the ballpark and you see the cotton candy vendors going up and down, you want that sweet kick. That's what Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy brings to the table. I like how convenient it is, too. It's just in a small package, portable, and you can put it in your pocket. You have it whenever you're on the go. Bring on the sweetness with the 5-Hour Energy of the cotton candy flavor today. It's available now online at 5hourenergy.com or over on Amazon. Thank you for making Locked On Reds your first listen or just part of your day in general. Really appreciate you. And by the way, thank you for helping make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the country. I appreciate our everydayers out there. If you're an everydayer, you are awesome. If you're not, you can become an everydayer by hitting the subscribe button right here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. You can also take it up a notch and go ad-free with our Locked On Reds Everydayer Club at lockedonreds.supercast.com. Link is in the description of today's episode for you to learn more. Ad-free feed, group chat on Discord, and so much more. Well, the good news was for the Reds, even though the pitching did them no favors in 2 out of 3 games, the lineup looked pretty good. And albeit they did have their struggles on Sunday with runners in scoring position, but for the most part, we saw the lineup do some good things. And I'm singling out a couple of different guys, starting, of course, with Elly De La Cruz. I don't know how you don't start with him. And at this point, it kind of feels like he is the draw. He is the given with this roster, the guy that's gonna go, because he had another multi-hit day, had a homer and a double. He ended his homerless slump. He'd gotten up, I think it was almost 20 games that he hadn't hit a home run, but that didn't matter because in those 20 games he was still hitting the ball like crazy. He's now batting .302 on the season, and his OPS is up over 900, and he's yet to have an off day, so, we're talking about a massive sample size here. It was great to see him in that homerless streak, but he's also currently slugging 100 points higher than last year. His slugging percentage by itself right now is .540. He is absolutely tearing the cover off the ball, and we're seeing a whole lot of red in his baseball savant profile and over on StatCast. We talk about this every so often that they talk about percentiles and rankings and all this other stuff, and blue is bad, red is good. For much of Elly's career, there's been a mixture of red and blue. It's like, well, he hits the ball really hard, but he also chases a lot, or he's got good average exit velocity, or he's got a decent, barrel percentage or launch angle, but his expected batting average is really low. All of his stuff is red right now. The only thing that's kind of blue is his whiff rate and his strikeout rate. And even with that, he's batting over 300. His strikeout rate is at 27%, and he's batting over 300. It's phenomenal to watch what he's doing right now. He is such a driving force for this lineup that if anyone else can step up consistently, then we are talking about the kind of lineup that can propel you to where you want to go, to a division championship. Just got to get the pitching staff in order there. But when it comes to the lineup, man, Elly De La Cruz is where it all starts. And it's so fun to watch right now because if it's the left side, if it's the right side, doesn't matter. He's going crazy. He looks every bit the part of the guy that we were talking about whenever he first came up. And everybody's like, well, he's got to do this. He's got to fix this. I mean, what's he got to fix right now? I would love to hear any sort of negative Nelly about Elly De La Cruz at the moment because he is absolutely on fire. He has every right to be the all-star starter for the National League at shortstop this year. I really hope we can make that happen. As soon as they open up all-star voting, I'm going to spam the heck out of Elly De La Cruz and make sure that I do my part to get him to start. I really invite you to do the same because I'm sure that there's going to be voters from other teams try to get their guys in because it's all fan voting, and I think that that's hilarious that that's how we determine starters for the all-star game. But if that's the case, we've got to load the ballot for Elly because Elly deserves it. He's been the best shortstop in the game outside of Bobby Witt Jr. It's Bobby Witt and it's Elly right now. And Bobby Witt, I mean, he's going to be the American League starter. So let's make Elly the National League starter. Faux show. Another great thing to see this weekend, and really it was just on Sunday, that Sal Stewart ended his slump. He had a couple of hits, a couple of singles on Sunday. But look, you got to end your slump somehow. That's how he's going to do it. And I was glad to see that because we're talking about a dude who has been so huge for this team. And the fact that the month of April, he had 29 RBIs. And I think up until this point in May, I think he's had like 2, maybe 1. That's just baseball for you. But it's a slump that's just been disheartening to see to a point that he actually got moved down in the lineup on Sunday. In case you didn't see that, the way that the lineup was set up, you had Will Benson leading off. You had I think it was Will Benson leading off. You had Elly De La Cruz batting second, and you didn't have Sal Stewart behind him. You actually had J.J. Bleday because it was J.J. Bleday, Spencer Steer, then Sal Stewart. He's batting fifth on Sunday, and so he responded well. He got a couple of hits. And what's interesting about Sal is that even though he's been in a slump, we're not talking about a dude that all of a sudden just forgot how to hit. He is still making good contact. In fact, his barrel rate is even better than Elly's. We talked about Elly's got a lot of red on his Baseball Savant page right now. His barrel percentage is fantastic. Sal's is even better than that. And some of his expected stats will tell you that Sal is about to break out. So this slump that he has is not going to last much longer, especially now that, obviously he's no longer hitless. He had 2 hits on Sunday. But one other thing with Sal that I would love to just shout out for a minute, because in this day and age of baseball, strikeouts aren't that big of a deal. I know that there are people that want to harp on them, and there's people that want to go crazy about strikeout rates and things like that. But it is very impressive to see guys who still don't strike out, and that's who Sal is. Sal has a 19.4% strikeout rate. League average is 22%. He's better than league average. He's not striking out, and he walks a lot too. 12.4% walk rate. So we're talking about a dude that is just getting started in his career, where you would have every right to be up there just hacking away, swinging at the fences, seeing if you can hit any pitch that comes plateward. See Christian Encarnacion Strand, Rhys Hines, Noelvi Marte. There's a long list of those guys. Sal Stewart ain't on that list. Sal Stewart hits above his age to a point that we could be talking about in a few years, a guy who walks as much as he strikes out. Say what, Joey Votto? I don't want to put that kind of pressure on Sal right now, but my goodness, I mean, this dude has an eye that for me right now is unrivaled. I don't know that anybody on the team has a better eye than he does. and he's the youngest hitter on the team. So it's fantastic to see. And then one other dude, and I really want to see his stats continue to balloon up, but man, Spencer Steer is finally delivering on what we hoped he'd be after his 2023 season. Because you might have forgotten, but in 2023, Spencer Steer played in 156 games and hit 271. He had a 117 OPS plus. He looked phenomenal. And then an injury happened. And 2024 and 2025 were slogs for him. Where it was like, let's pick a sample size. This sample size is encouraging. This is good. Now he's just doing the thing all year. And he's looking real nice. But the funniest part about what Spencer's doing is that he has a 101-point gap between his actual slugging percentage and what his expected slugging could be. He has the highest expected slugging percentage of any of the regular players in the Reds lineup right now, and that includes Elly. Get ready for a breakout. We haven't even seen it yet. He's hitting 269. We haven't even seen Spencer break out yet. Get ready for it. And right now, I don't love to do this a lot because they're a little bit hokey, but he's on pace for 25 home runs. I don't love to do on-pace numbers, but it's fun to see that we are now halfway through the month of May, a little bit over halfway through the month of May, and Spencer Steer is on pace for 25 home runs this year. Could have 3 guys over 25 homers, depending on how this year goes for them, and I just talked about them, Elly, Sal, and Spence. But it's good to see that there's some bright spots in this lineup, man, because this lineup's really going to need to go. Because this road trip doesn't get any easier as you head to Philadelphia, and the Reds get to face the one who got away. Erectile dysfunction is way more common than most guys think. Millions of guys deal with it at some point, and that's exactly why HIMS offers a straightforward way to handle it. HIMS connects you with licensed healthcare providers online, giving you access to legitimate ED treatment options from the comfort of your own home. There's no awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process that makes it easier to take care of yourself. If the treatment is right for you, it ships directly to your door in discreet packaging, which makes the whole experience feel private and stress-free. It's straightforward, transparent, and designed to make getting care feel easy. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/LockedOnMLB. That's hims.com/LockedOnMLB for your free online visit. hims.com/LockedOnMLB. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is a generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris. You can follow us after the show is over and continue the conversation with us over in social media. On X, you can follow me at Jeff Carr with 3 Fs. I'm also on TikTok at that username as well. You can follow Steve at S. Offenbaker with 2 Fs over on X. He's not yet on TikTok. We're still working on getting him on there. And you can also follow the show at Lockdown Reds everywhere you get your social media. 20 home runs right now. 642 slugging percentage right now. And he could have been doing all of that for the Reds. Yeah, I'm talking about Kyle Schwarber. And look, I would love to say that I really think, hindsight's 20/20 on this, but it really seems as though Kyle Schwarber used Cincinnati to get more money out of Philly. I don't think we'd ever hear him say that, but based on how this all went, and you heard different reporting, and I got so tired of it as the offseason droned on, but you heard different reporting that the Reds would have matched any offer that Philadelphia made. The Reds were very, very motivated to bring him here, all this other stuff. I think it was all a ploy. Some people do that. Some people have the opportunity to pit two companies against one another when they've already made their decision on which company they want to go with. And that's fine. That's how life works. I'm not holding that against Kyle Schwarber. I have no ill will toward Kyle Schwarber. I just don't believe that there was ever a moment he was going to come back to come to Cincinnati, back like he's ever been here. Grew up in Middletown. That doesn't mean he was a Red. But I think we overrated it a little bit because we wanted to see it happen. The good news is the Reds have a chance to show them what should have been. Go to Philly and beat up on the Phillies. And I know they're playing some better baseball right now. They've seen some pretty good performances, albeit they were where the Reds kind of feel like they are right now. They were even worse than that in the month of April. And so anything feels better than that for Phillies fans right now. But the Reds have an opportunity here, and it's tough to say that with the Reds pitching staff. I know. I don't want to say I expect 2 out of 3, but I kind of do. I know. Blame me, right? But the Reds are not facing the best of the Phillies pitching staff here. In these 3 games, the Reds are getting Andrew Painter, Jesus Luzardo, and Aaron Nola. These are all talented guys. Andrew Painter was once the top prospect in the system, one of the top prospects in baseball. Jesus Luzardo and Aaron Nola have both been doing it for a couple of years now. Aaron Nola for much longer, and he's maybe seeing a resurgence, but none of their season stats are phenomenal. I mean, Andrew Painter has a 6.2 ERA in 37 2/3 innings. Jesus Luzardo, 5.07 ERA in 49 2/3. And Aaron Nola, 5.91 and 45 2/3. They are all varying stages of where Andrew Abbott was before Andrew Abbott's scoreless streak began. And so I say that this is an opportunity for the lineup to go off. And you can do that at Citizens Bank Park. It's a hitter's paradise over there. I believe that the Reds lineup has no excuses in this series. That's going to be the hard part because they've got to carry things. The pitching staff right now is in shambles. It just is. If you tell me you have the most confidence in so-and-so coming out to bullpen, sure, because I don't know who that is. If you tell me you have a ton of confidence in Nick Lodolo pitching really well tonight, from your lips to God's ears, I want to say that I do, but the problem is his bread and butter is that breaking ball, and it looked horrible in his last start. It was wildly inconsistent. There'd be one pitch, man, it looked like it was beautiful. Next pitch, it was flat in the middle of the zone and getting clobbered. So I really hope that he can right the ship, because if he doesn't, he's facing a lineup that can absolutely destroy him. And we could be talking about a slugfest here on Monday night. I haven't seen what the over-under is on the total runs for this first game over on FanDuel, but I'm sure it's high. Because you're talking about a guy who has given up a ton of runs versus a guy who's given up a ton of runs and 2 bullpens that are really rough off. Like, this whole series might be a slugfest. And I think that favors the Reds, because if the Reds lineup goes to sleep, got a bad chance here of getting swept. That's why it's so weird that I expect 2 out of 3. But I just have this feeling that we saw signs from the Reds in Cleveland this weekend, the lineup that is, that they're beginning to build that consistency. And if they can put it all together and get the pitching support that they need, this could work. Like, for a moment, and this is what I'm talking about. When it comes to the Reds lineup in the Phillies pitching staff, let's look at these 3 starters. Andrew Painter, in his last 5 games, his last 5 starts, he has averaged 4 2/3. He's given up 7 homers in his last 5 starts, and he has allowed 6 hits a game. His strikeout to walk ratio is just 2-1. Jesus Luzardo's looked a little bit better. In his last 5, he's thrown an average of 5 1/3. He's only allowed 2 homers, given up 5 hits per game, so you can still string some together on him. But his strikeout to walk ratio is a lot better at 3.8. And on the year, it's at 4.6, so that's slightly down for his last 5, but still, he's looked all right in his last 5 games. Aaron Nola, on the other hand, last 5 outings, 4 2/3 innings on average, 6 homers allowed, 6 hits a game allowed. And those homers are total, by the way, not per game, but 1.83 strikeouts to walks. So basically, he's almost walking as many as he's striking out. I need to see this Reds lineup go off in 3 games, not just one, right? We're not just talking about one big game and then, all right, you can go to sleep and wait till you get back home. They need to have a good series. Because if they do that, I feel like they can really breathe some life into this pitching staff. The Reds, on the other hand, they throw Nick Lodolo tonight. They throw Chase Burns on Tuesday, and they throw Andrew Abbott on Wednesday. And as things look, that's some pretty good matchups. They don't have to face Zach Wheeler, and they don't have to face Christopher Sanchez. Feels like a win to me in the matchups department. Now they've got to make sure that they win on the field. And we're going to be all over that right here on the Locked On Reds podcast. As you know, Steve will be back tomorrow. I'm sure we will discuss further down the road as we near Brady Singer's next start. We're going to discuss how the Reds approach that. But honestly, they just kind of got to hope some guys really break out here. Like, Nick Krall is not going to be wheeling and dealing. If the Reds general manager was A.J. Preller, like the San Diego Padres, I'd say, hey, something might be happening. But it isn't. And so I think that they're just kind of hoping guys break out of a slump, and that's going to be the same with the bullpen. Not really sure who's going to show up in the bullpen here in Philadelphia, but there's got to be somebody do it, man. They cannot continue to run guys out there who just walk, hit, and blow up. Because this season will blow up really fast. I don't think that it's getting late early. I keep hearing people say that. I don't think we're there yet. But this stretch of bad pitching cannot continue for much longer. Or we will be talking about the fact that it's getting late early. That's going to do it for us here today on the Locked On Reds podcast. We'll break down the latest start from Nick Lodolo, and hopefully the big hook will be working for him as Steve will return on tomorrow's podcast. Make sure that you subscribe and you follow us wherever you get your podcast. You can also join the Everydayer Club, lockedonreds.supercast.com. Link is in the show description down below to learn more about that. And make sure you check out the Locked On MLB feed. So much going on over there, whether it's Mike Stanton, who, if you missed Friday's episode, had a great chat with him before the Cleveland series happened. But former Reds relief pitcher Mike Stanton and Brett Chansey are over on Back to the Bullpen on Locked On MLB. You also have MLB Game Night, breaking down every game every night. And, of course, Sully has you anchored over on the Locked On MLB channel. So many great views from around the league on Locked On MLB. Make sure you go check them out. But as for Steve, Tim Daniel, and myself, we will be Locked On Reds every single day.